Haha, yes. Now that I have the dinosaur embryos, I will make my own Jurassic Park.
Aurora, wake up.
Dad, what did you wake me up for? I was having such a good dream, Dad.
Aurora, you had a crazy dream and you were talking in your sleep. So I heard the whole thing. I love the scenario you came up with of finding the Barbasol can. It just made me think, what if Alan Grant had found the Barbasol can? What would have happened? So let's go ahead and make a video on that and run through the scenario, see what people think. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Press Pause today as we jump back into one of our favorite IPs, that is the Jurassic Park franchise. And we are doing a what if scenario of what if Alan Grant had found the Barbasol can on the island. So if you guys enjoy the content, big Jurassic Park fans out there, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know when we're posting new content out there. If you do like the video, hit that like button. We would really appreciate it. You don't want to dine and dash at a restaurant, so you don't want to watch a YouTube video and not hit that like button or not hit the subscribe button, because it's the same thing. For you, it's not very much. For us, it does mean a lot. Thank you guys so much, and let's get into the video. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get into the what if scenario if Alan Grant had found the Barbasol can. Now, how would this scenario play out? Most of the things in the film would stay the same. However, we're adding content to the end and changing a couple things within the middle. We have Alan Grant. After the entire T-Rex breakout scene, he is with Lex and Tim, and as they're traversing to the jungle, they end up stumbling upon a pile of mud where Alan Grant can see something within the mud. Okay. Additionally, up on top of the cliff, they see a wrecked vehicle. Now, Alan can see, as he approaches the vehicle, something inside he does not want to deal with. He walks back down, not to scare Lex and Tim, looks in the mud pile, grabs that Barbasol can, picks it up, puts it in his pocket, because someone like Alan Grant knows that you don't know what resources you're going to find here in the jungle. He uses that Barbasol can, and maybe he can use the metal for a weapon or something like that. Obviously, this didn't happen in the film because they're walking by a bunch of twigs and sticks and branches and leaves. Those things necessarily can't be used for tools within that way, the same way that a metal element like a Barbasol can or something could be used. So he takes this back with him. Everything else, again, plays out the same. He takes this back to the compound. They end up going through the fight with the raptors. They end up escaping on the Jeep into the helicopter and flying back to the mainland. Once this happens, John Hammond, again, not giving up on Jurassic Park initially, okay? This is someone who, as people are dying, he's still second guessing and still wanting to have a next time it'll be flawless.
Next time it'll be flawless.
So we don't think that he would have given up on this right away. He still would have kept his options open. And in doing so, he would have taken care of Ian Malcolm, Alan Grant, and Ellie Sattler. Taking care of them, putting them up in a nice, fancy, bougie hotel. Now, who would show up at this hotel? Lewis Dodgson. Yes, the Lewis Dodgson, the guy that did not come back until Jurassic World Dominion. Why would he have given up so quickly on this? One, he didn't know that Nedry had died on the island. Two, how does he know the Barbasol can did not make it off the island? He does not. So as someone who invested a lot of money into this, this is someone who, trying to look like a secret agent, walks into the hotel that John Hammond had put up the other survivors of Isla Nublar. He walks in the hotel, walks straight to the elevator, goes up. After asking the front desk, where these people were staying, he probably would have been able to find that out at the front desk just by asking, saying that he worked for Mr. Hammond. Once getting to the floor, he goes to knock on the random doors. First up, he comes to Alan Grant. Alan Grant at this time, as we've seen from Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic Park 1, he is someone who is a digger. He needs the money, and so he's pretty susceptible to money as a way to block some of his rational thinking.
I could write all kinds of numbers on this check, Dr. Grant.
He's sitting there, shaving, getting himself fresh, change of clothes after the trauma and everything he experienced on the island. And then he notices a little bit of looseness at the bottom of the can. He unscrews the bottom and finds out what's inside. Now, as he goes to leave the room to go to maybe see Mr. Hammond in his hotel room, there's a knock on the door. He opens the door. Lewis Dodgson is standing there, waiting. And Lewis Dodgson sees the Barbasol can in his hand. He tells Alan Grant, "Thank you so much for retrieving this. I actually work for Mr. Hammond. He was wanting to ask about this to everyone. He was going to ask if anyone had seen this can. And now that you have it, that's great. I will take it. And as a reward for making sure you preserved this and brought it back to the mainland for us, I'm actually going to write you a check. Lewis Dodgson writes him out a check. Alan sees zeros on that check and walks back into his hotel room, sits down at his desk, and starts to think about what that check meant. And how would this person be able to write a check so quickly to him for such a large sum of money? He's puzzled. But at this point, Dodgson is already out the hotel, already gone with those embryos. Now, he takes those embryos back to his company and tracks down the great Henry Wu. Okay, yes, the young Henry Wu that we saw, we did see him return back in the Jurassic World franchise, and this is something where we would have seen him be recruited by Lewis Dodgson. He was clearly going to be out of a job because Jurassic Park was not doing all that well with what had went on, and of course, Henry Wu would have heard about what happened on the island. Knowing this, Lewis Dodgson approaching him for a position and about his research, Henry Wu would have wanted to take advantage of that. He would have wanted to continue his research and continue doing his projects, especially knowing the embryos are now with Lewis Dodgson. It's a quick way to ramp back up production, okay? Henry Wu joins up with Dodgson. Over time, Henry Wu would be working with Lewis Dodgson to start creating dinosaurs. While this was going on, obviously InGen would be going through financial woes, financial bankruptcy for the lawsuits of the people that had died on the island, as we heard in Jurassic Park 2 deleted scenes.
We've been on the verge of Chapter 11 ever since that accident in the park.
Now, when this happens, obviously, Peter Ludlow comes into the picture. He takes over control of InGen as he did in Jurassic Park 2. John Hammond has nothing that he can do about this.
InGen is my responsibility now, Doctor, and I will jealously defend its interests.
And what does he do? He's approached by Lewis Dodgson, who comes in to bail them out and buy the company. So Peter Ludlow cashes out, sells the company off. InGen is now a part of Biosyn. And because of that, they now have all the assets InGen had. They now have Isla Nublar. They have Isla Sorna. They have Jurassic Park San Diego. All of that land, all that property under them. Now Biosyn would use Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna as breeding grounds to make the dinosaurs. And then they would transport them to the San Diego amphitheater. This was the big plan of Peter Ludlow. Why would this not be the plan of Biosyn? Because Biosyn will be looking at something that is cost effective, something that doesn't have a massive investment into it, and that would be Jurassic Park San Diego. The infrastructure was already built, and boom, Jurassic Park San Diego happens. And the dinosaurs would perform well. People would come from all over the world to come and see these dinosaurs. They would actually have in the amphitheater. Obviously, you have someone like Lewis Dodgson, who probably doesn't care about the dinosaurs, probably doesn't give a crap about their well-being, as we saw in the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous series. He just does not care. And so because of this, there would be fighting at the amphitheater. T-Rexes would be battling it out every day with other types of carnivores as well as herbivores. And this would be a gladiator-style amusement for people. As this is emerging, obviously there would be issues that would come up for Ian, Alan, and Ellie. They would figure out what's going on behind the scenes here at Jurassic Park San Diego. And obviously, the dinosaurs are not being treated very well. They would partner together, sabotage the attraction, just like we saw in Jurassic Park 2 with Nick Van Owen going through and releasing the dinosaurs. The same thing would happen here with Ellie, Ian, and Alan. And essentially, once they free the dinosaurs, there would be havoc. This would be something that we would see just like the San Diego incident in Jurassic Park 2, but this would be multiple dinosaurs roaming around the area. Now, not necessarily on the scale of a Jurassic World Dominion, where dinosaurs are out all over the country. This is an isolated incident. They're not going to keep hundreds of dinosaurs here at this one amphitheater amusement park style attraction. It just doesn't have the space to house them like an island of Isla Nublar size. So most of the dinosaurs will still be on the island. They are able to corral most of these dinosaurs. Obviously, some compies could probably get away and elude people for quite some time until being discovered later on. But essentially, they would capture most of these, get them back under captivity and back to the islands. Now, this Sabotage happening would be completely covered up. Hammond would use some of his resources that he still had at his disposal to cover up things for Ian, Alan, and Ellie, and they are free of any types of charges coming back on them. Everything looks like Biosyn screwed up and couldn't keep this park safe. Now Biosyn's in the same financial woes that InGen was within Jurassic Park 2 with all the lawsuits of everything that happened from the destruction. Now, what happens? The government comes in, takes control of these assets, and it becomes government entities between the Costa Rican government and the United States working together to figure out how to preserve these islands. And then we can go from there. Who knows what happens next? But that was our scenario of what happens if Alan Grant found the Barbasol can. We found it very intriguing to think about Alan bringing it back to the compound, back to the mainland, and then Lewis Dodgson following up on his trail of breadcrumbs of Dennis Nedry and what Dennis Nedry was doing and figuring out what happened. Ending up getting the Barbasol can, and everything goes haywire from there with some of the same events playing out with Jurassic Park San Diego incident still occurring. What did you guys think of this what if scenario? Was it interesting to you? If you did like this, please hit that subscribe button or at least hit the like button. For you, it's not much. For us, it does mean a lot. If you want to go see Jurassic Park down in Orlando or over in California, reach out to us. We are official Disney and Universal travel agents. We can specialize in those for you, and we're a free service. We'd love to help you book your next set of magical memories. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you in the next video. And remember, Christ is King.
Haha, little does Dad know that it wasn't a dream, and I have made dinos of my own.
Alan and found the team here. I went down the wrong pipe. Oh man. Hope you're enjoying. Can you hear the vacuum? Let's see.